Yeah, so up we go. Yeah, I'm here now just for about 10 days here in Oberstdorf, just visiting. I had an apartment here for almost a decade, 8 years or something like that. And I used to spend a lot of time here. And during the pandemic, actually, I was here the whole time because travel was restricted on and off. I tried to go back to Japan where I work, but there were restrictions that prevented me from doing so, and then I failed these PCR tests once or twice, so this and that. So I spent 2 years non-stop here in Oberstdorf, and the rink was closed much of the time. And when it wasn't closed, there were restrictions and requirements imposed, which I wasn't really prepared to follow, so I just decided not to skate during that time. And yeah, so I lost, 6 months here and 8 months there, and was off the ice and back on, and then back off again. And I kind of lost my double axel, which I assumed it was such an easy jump for me. I could do it almost with my eyes closed, and now it's been quite a struggle, even several years later, to get it back, to get the feeling back, and to get my body back in shape. Even though I was not skating, I was exercising a lot. I would go out every afternoon, take a run or a hike or a bicycle ride on my recumbent bicycle. And so I stayed very fit, but jumping and absorbing impact with one leg on a leaning, curving back outside edge is quite a different thing. And yeah, so I've kind of struggled to regain my technique. Now my body's very strong. I'm almost completely injury free and pain free. When I say almost completely, after a workout I get aches and pains, and but with a little warm up, a little stretching, and a little myofascial release and body maintenance and improvements in my technique and these things, I can skate really quite well without being restricted by pain. And so now it's just a matter of getting my confidence up and getting my technique back to be able to bring that double axel full time back in my repertoire. I did some I guess it's almost 6 months ago. In January, I got the double axel to happen. I posted it even over at Midtown in Roppongi. And I did several after that for a few weeks, and then I got some pain in my knee. I left it alone, and then this problem and that problem and this excuse and that excuse. And so now I think probably within a day or two I should be able to bring that slowly back into my repertoire. And when I did the double axel in January, I thought, oh, I did it finally. Now I got the feeling back. Now I can do it all the time just like I did before. But no, it doesn't work that way. It's going to be a constant struggle probably for a while until I get it consistent again. And so at least now I have a better understanding of what I'm up against. I was underestimating the difficulty of bringing that jump back into my repertoire. Yeah, it's a little on the scary side. As any of you know who have let a jump go or who have not done a jump before, there's a little fear factor, and especially for my double axle, it's a really big jump. I'm used to doing it as a big jump with lots of speed, lots of height. It covers more distance than any of my other jumps. When I'm, you know, when I was in really good shape and skating at my best, it would cover like 8 or 9 blade lengths, whereas my other jumps are typically more closer to like 6 blade lengths. So yeah, so I'd like to be able to do a smaller one, but that's just not something that my muscle memory is too familiar with. Yeah, so I'm just a 5 or 10 minute walk from the ice rink, and you can see that gorgeous waterfall coming down, but I'm not going to go that way today. That's a nice little hike up the mountain. Today I'm going to go up this way, up the road, for another 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'm going to hang a left and go over Walrafweg, and make my way across the middle of Rubyhorn, that mountain, to the valley that leads up to Gaisalpsee. Yeah, 16 years old, I came to Oberstdorf and to Europe for my first time, and wow, and yeah, Oberstdorf has figured into my life considerably since then. My first professional gig was on the Torval and Dean World Tour, 1985 and 1986, a couple of years after the 1984 Olympics, which was in Sarajevo, Yugoslavia, which is now Bosnia-Herzegovina, if I'm not mistaken. After the balkanization of Yugoslavia, there's now a handful of states, 6 or 7 of them or something. I haven't been back to Sarajevo since that time, but I've been back to Oberstdorf many times, and we trained, we rehearsed in this town, Jane and Chris and company, for the Fire and Ice television special, which was eventually filmed in Stuttgart. But yeah, Jane and Chris trained in Oberstdorf before they captured that Olympic title with all their 6.0 perfect marks in Sarajevo. And I was fortunate enough to be invited onto their world tour company. I was one of the first members. We trained in Sydney, Australia initially. Yeah, I went there. I remember I did some shows there for 2 or 3 weeks while I was still an amateur, and then after I turned professional, actually I turned professional for that engagement, because Jane and Chris invited me, and I was not any kind of Olympic champion or even world champion, but I established myself as a very creative and entertaining artist. Maybe partly because I struggled with jumps when I was younger, and yeah, so that was sort of how I carved out my identity, and that's where I found my self-esteem, was in creating. And I was sort of more of a thinking person than an obedient type of skater, so I had my own motivation, my own creative impulse. And even though I wasn't a champion, I was junior champion of Canada. I don't know how much that is to boast about, but yeah, I didn't really get any major credentials competitively. I turned in some very good performances, but yeah, I was a good enough skater that Jane and Chris wanted to have me on their show. We played in Australia many times, New Zealand many times, United States, Canada, England. We even did a few shows in Oberstdorf. Yeah. Yeah, this is a popular place to come in the summertime. Many hiking trails in this part of the world. So it's busy in the summertime, and they have many gondolas, trams that go up many different mountains around here. And when I was here during the pandemic, as I say, I took a hike or a walk or a run every day in the afternoon. I became very strong because I think this is one of the best types of exercise you can do, walking in the mountains. Not so much on this road. This road is just sort of flat pavement. But when we get onto the trail, then it becomes much better exercise. Yeah, I'm still walking uphill now, but I'm not really using my ankle and foot and legs and core like I would if I was on a more natural, random surface with rocks and roots and stumps and other obstacles and obstructions to negotiate. So we're gonna get there. Yeah, just around this corner, I'm gonna make a left onto the trail and go across Walrafweg. And I'm going to take a little pause here now and wait for my hiking companion and my business companion Ryoko Natori-san to catch up. And then we'll continue. Okay, we're back up and running. This is actually what I'm looking at here. This is part of the ski run here coming down the mountain. And yeah, it's such a great training environment for figure skating, like I say. And I've been skating 2 sessions a day, and I've been skating better than I have for a very long time because the ice is so good. There's many good figure skaters here, so it's a very inspiring environment. I happen to be in good shape right now. No aches and pains, and so yeah, I'm enjoying making progress every session on my figure skating, and I'm tempted to just carry on with that. But it's a shame to come to Oberstdorf into the mountains. I talk about this type of exercise being the best you can do, and yet I have to make a choice between whether I want to practice my figure skating or go hiking. And yeah, so I've decided to do a different type of training today, which is hiking on the trails. And this is good training for my figure skating. I'll probably struggle tomorrow on the ice because I'll be a little fatigued after. Well, this is not a major hike. I was planning on climbing all the way up to the top of Ruby Horn, which is the mountain that is right above the ice rink at Oberstdorf. And that's quite a grunt to get to that top of that mountain. I've been doing a little hiking recently in Clout, Italy, when I was there, but really sort of just minor little hikes. And so I decided not to take on Ruby Horn today. I decided to do a sort of just a more moderate type of hike. And maybe later in the week I'll do something a little more of a grunt, like Ruby Horn. I've climbed most of the mountains around Oberstdorf. Well, maybe not most, but a lot of them. I used to go hiking with Peter. Yeah, when he was here, and Peter Barna. He used to enjoy going hiking, and it was really up on where all the trails are around here and which mountains you can climb and what the level of difficulty is, etc. So, and he enjoyed going hiking, so we climbed a lot of mountains around here together. Wow, beautiful forest. It's 35 degrees is the high in Tokyo around this time of year. Right now it's just around 20 degrees or so. Ideal for taking a hike in the mountains. Very, very comfortable. And so it was even a little chilly first thing this morning, 9 degrees, because it was clear overnight. And so the clouds and humidity keep the heat in, and when it clears off, of course, you get more swings in the temperature, like in the desert where it's very dry. It gets very hot in the day and cool, quite cool or cold at night. So now not heating up that much during the day because it's cloudy, and started off at 9, so really, really comfortable day for taking a hike. Absolutely perfect. And since I haven't been out in the sun for 2 or 3 or 4 hours at a time all at once, like I will be today, it's better if it's a little cloudy, because I don't want to get a sunburn. I wore a cap just in case, because I'm bald. I don't have any hair on the top of my head, so if I go out and get a lot of sunshine there all at once, it's not good for my skin. And the cap keeps a little bit of the sun off my face too, so that's a little bit of protection there. Yeah, I would have been riding my motorcycle without a helmet if I had my druthers, and so I would have gotten gradually some sun on the top of my head. But no, a motorcycle helmet is police repellent. It's a type of police repellent. You go riding around without a helmet on, your day is going to be interrupted. So yeah, I didn't want that. So here we are. I don't wear sunglasses. Yeah, somebody brought up a point recently that sunglasses, they sort of trick your body into thinking that it's shadier than what it actually is. And the amount of light that you see through your eyes is kind of a little bit of a gauge as to how much melatonin you produce, how much tanning you do. So I don't wear sunglasses as much anymore. It's not good for your skin to wear sunglasses, according to the research that has been done on this subject. And I definitely don't wear sunscreens either, because sunscreens have been shown to contain toxic chemicals, and they kind of trick your body into, they kind of trick your skin by curtailing the amount of, let's say, infrared radiation, but the UV radiation goes right through. So there is a controversy over whether you should wear sunscreens or not, and the science that I'm aware of suggests that skin cancer rates are higher for those who wear sunscreen. So that's my opinion based on what I've on the doctors and researchers who I've been exposed to. Yeah, so the trail going moderately up. Now lots of people bicycle on this trail. It's quite easy to bicycle on this, especially with an e-bike. Still not a very difficult trail, more or less flat, not a lot of, yeah, there's a few little rocks and stones and things sticking up, but nothing too tricky yet. That will change. This Walraff Weg across the side of the mountain is all more or less like this. And then walking up to Gaisalpsee after I get to that valley there, then that's a more difficult and interesting trail. Narrower and more gnarly. Quite a different type of exercise going up and going down, and you can make it easier for yourself by using these walking poles. I don't use walking poles. Not really interested in using walking poles. Yeah, you can use those to help you propel yourself up, and you can use them to brake as you come down. I don't know, I'm a minimalist. I'm not carrying anything at the moment except for this GoPro. I don't have a backpack on because I find it very uncomfortable, and I'm only gone for, it might take 4 hours this hike. There are sources of water along the way if I get thirsty, and I think I can do without food also. I had a pretty good feed before I set out this afternoon, so no worries there. Yeah, I could run up this trail. It's not steep enough to really prevent running, and I could make better time running. There is a certain steepness where it's kind of not worth running. Servus. Yeah, that's what they say around here. Servus. That's a local way of greeting. Also, grüß Gott. Hello. Yeah, they also say not hello, but hallo. In German, Guten Tag, what I learned in university, Guten Tag, that's like saying good day. Very formal, and hardly anybody ever says that. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah. Trail getting a little bit rougher now. That's what I like. Foot twisting and turning every which way, not always just flat. Ankle bending this way and that. Ziehe einen Stein. Deine Intuition wird den richtigen ziehen. Vertraue darauf. Glück ist kein Zufall. Glück ist kein Zufall. Happiness is no accident. Servus. Yeah, so actually why I'm here right now, I just did the shows in England. Olga Maloney invited me to be part of the Billingham International Folklore Festival of World Dance. And that was a thoroughly enjoyable and gratifying experience. And I just came back to Oberstdorf to tie up a few loose ends and to take advantage of the environment here. Nice to go back to the ice rink and see some old faces and have a little chit chat with people who I knew so well when I was here. Yeah, I was kind of toying with the idea of moving on because I had a little difficult with politics at the arena. It's the same in any place you go. You have politics and power trippers and these sorts of things to deal with. And when you visit a place, you don't have to worry so much about this. You come in, everything's rosy, you get along with everybody, you leave. All fine and good. But then when you stay in some place for any length of time, you know, you have I don't know, you get to know sort of the deeper workings of the RINK and whatnot. And you know, being a Canadian who doesn't speak fluent German, my German's pretty good now, actually. It's getting a lot better, actually. I got more confidence with it. But even still, it's not fluent, so that's a challenge. And so you feel, because we're also nationalistic these days, and maybe always, you feel a little prejudice and a little bias, and also because I have such an experience and knowledge and ability as a skater, certain coaches feel threatened by my very existence. Coaches who are perhaps very influential and busy and renowned in figure skating, but frankly, this dichotomy between reason and power rears its ugly head. And I had some problems with Michael Hoot. He detests me, never has said a word to me the whole time I've been here, and there's all kinds of machinations that he's done to try to keep me off of sessions, and I was demoted over and over again. I was initially on the masterclass sessions, which I should be, because like, who's more of a master of figure skating than I am after spending so many years doing it? You know, I skate fast and I have skating skills beyond anything that you see out there on the ice nowadays, and I should, considering the priority that figure skating has had in my life. But yeah, it's a wonderful environment, but I would suggest that skaters who succeed in this environment succeed in spite of their coaches. And I don't consider, just by watching, it's not like I'm obsessed or pay that much attention, but I don't really think that Michael Hoot is some great figure skating master. In fact, I think that he probably does his skaters more harm than good. But they succeed because he does create, you know, this is a nice environment. And he has had some good skaters through the years, so he's kind of built up a reputation for being a wonderful coach, and he shows up in the kiss and cry and this and that, but really he's a fraud. And you know, I call him out on that, and I can see what goes on. And he has ins with the management, so you know, he made some excuse that, oh, Gary Beacom's dangerous. So I was demoted from the master class to the junior sessions because I was supposedly dangerous on the ice. And Nicole Schott was just a awful, horrible, nasty person. And to get her and Michael Hoot together, oh, they were not happy about my presence and existence. And so, and then I was demoted from the junior to the novice sessions. Eventually Michael Hoot has never faced me or complained to me about anything, but he goes running up to Thomas Speiser up in the office, and they bow down to him because he brings a little business into the ice rink and whatnot. And so then I was demoted down to the novice session, which is really quite impossible for me to skate on because it's really busy. Skaters skate slowly, they're relatively unaware of what's going on. So, and then around this time, the landlords of my apartment wanted to have the apartment back, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's great, that's perfect, I'll get out of here and move on, and with no regrets. So that's kind of a little bit of the ugly side of Oberstdorf. I have many people here who I have great conversations, great rapport with, but there are some, let's say rotten apples also. I don't have to name them all, but there are some nasty people in Oberstdorf. It's hard to believe, living in such a beautiful environment with such a fabulous ice rink, that you could be miserable and just spread hatred and animosity. But this is the way it goes in most ice rinks. And somebody who has confidence in their ability, and they have some serious actual ability and knowledge and can produce great skating in their proteges, and they don't need to play politics, right? So when somebody plays politics, you can be assured that they're very much lacking in confidence about their own knowledge and ability. They have an overinflated, an outwardly overinflated countenance and need to make an impression. They throw their weight around and yell and scream and order people around this way and that. No, somebody who's an adept and who's knowledgeable treats everybody with respect. They don't have to rely on politics and tactics, power tripping tactics to protect their skaters, protect their business. And there's too much of that around in skating nowadays, especially since the sport is dying in a way, unfortunately. And yeah, it's kind of like that everywhere, but especially here in Germany, where the economy has been suffering greatly recently, and many ice rinks have closed down. So there's a lot of competition among coaches for business. This trail in here has been upgraded. Yeah, it's all smoothed out, and yeah, it wasn't like this at all before. So it's better really for riding a bicycle up here, but really not as interesting for walking this part of the trail. Yeah, I'm still enjoying being out in the forest, being out in the fresh air. Yeah, it's a very healthy environment, Oberstdorf. Good water, fresh air. Yeah, we're not really close to any population centers here in Oberstdorf. They get lots of rain. There's no need for irrigation. The grass is always green. Cows are happy. Yeah, and there's just so many trails, hiking trails to explore in and around Oberstdorf. And I have explored them all, because I would go out, like I say, almost every afternoon, rain or shine. Yeah, unless it was pouring rain, that would be a deal breaker. But so I pretty well know all the trails within, let's say, 10 kilometers in any direction from Oberstdorf. I've hiked them all. Yeah, this is potable water. In my opinion, I drink the water out of these streams all the time. and have suffered no adverse effects whatsoever. So yeah. Very nice. Now maybe I'll take a little break here and wait for Ryoko to catch up, and then we'll continue. See you later. Back up and running, or walking. I guess I could run. Yeah, well, they have a few of these gates around because they got a lot of cows, and yeah, this whole area's got lots of cows, and so they make fences and gates to control the cows. Yeah, of course the cows are also fitted with those bells around their neck. How would you like to be a cow with that? Those tinkling bells sound very pretty and nice from a distance, but if you were subjected to that like 24/7, like not too far from your ears, that loud clanging sound all the time, every time you move, yeah, that would be enough to drive you crazy. But the cows really don't have a choice, and they don't know any different, so maybe it's okay for them. They never seem to complain about it. Not that they would know how or could. Yeah, we get into situations where we're controlled and, you know, and we don't really complain if we don't know any different. It can be like that with helicopter parents or obsessive parents who seem to be more concerned about controlling their children than about raising them to be happy and independent. Yeah, I can be very thankful for many things that my parents provided for me, but my mother was quite controlling. Very controlling. Abusive even, I would say. And it's not like I didn't love my mom, but yeah, no. Yeah, I can be thankful for many things, opportunities that my parents provided. But yeah, we don't really know any different as kids. Our parents, we only have one set of parents, and the way they treat us and raise us and the things that go on in our household, we don't always recognize abuse or disrespect. And even if we did, we don't always know how to counteract it or complain about it or break away from it or call it out. And it's not only like that in households, but that's just a microcosm of the whole world, where we tend to, much too much, in my opinion, control one another. We're treated like children by our governments. We're treated like children by our bosses. Yeah. Our rights are violated over and over and over again in our lives. Basic human rights have been converted into privileges, and we don't always recognize it. In fact, most of us don't recognize it. And yeah, many people think that becoming an adult means becoming compliant, but it really should just be the opposite. Adulthood is about assuming responsibility, and in order to assume responsibility, we have to have liberty. We have to have freedom. The current administrative state is the opposite of that, and it's gone way too far, and it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And so I call this out when I can. It's not easy. And I feel like a small majority, but it is what it is. There's no guarantee in life that your rights won't be violated. There's no guarantee, if you're a deer, that you won't be tracked down and eaten by a wolf or a bear. We don't have a guarantee for safety, and there's no guarantee that you won't fall prey to your worst enemy on the planet, which is other people. And that's just the reality. As we get older and wiser, we should understand that the world is not perfect, or at least not in some sense. I mean, maybe there's some way that you could suggest that deceit and lies and abuse is part of a perfect world, because without those negative things you wouldn't appreciate or even have a definition for positive things. Yeah, I can really appreciate the freedom to walk along on this trail right now without being detained, because in so many other aspects of my life I have to be subject to certain types of abuse. Yeah, it's really severe in Europe. You're driving along down the road and you see a camera take your picture because you were going maybe, I don't know, 6 kilometers over the speed limit. This happened one time in Switzerland to me. I was going like 5 or 6 kilometers over the speed limit. I got my picture taken, and then I get a bill for like 250 francs or some exorbitant amount, and what am I going to do about it? Yeah, it's not at all about safety. It's just about revenue, and it's actually the opposite of safety, because now we have to devote our attention to watching out. You have to pay attention to your speedometer, to the signs. Yeah. Those of us who are rational and are not so much oriented in terms of who gets to tell who what to do, this really irritates us. We just want to take responsibility for ourselves. We don't want to be babied. We don't want to be told that we must behave in a certain way to prevent some supposed threat or danger. We just want to respect each other and prevent trespass in whatever way we can without being ordered around, fined, have our property confiscated. Yeah. Yeah, if it wasn't for people like me who complain about such things, it might be very, very much worse. But how could I think about such thoughts when I'm in the pristine environment up here? Butterflies flitting around, lovely scenery, fresh air and exercise. Yeah, I'm enjoying it, and thank you for coming along with me. Yeah, I've been skating a couple times every day, and I've been focused mostly on trying to get better, and I really want to get that double axel back, like I say, but I'm not going to put myself under too much stress and pressure over it. Every time I go out on the ice, I don't really set goals. I just keep my brain active, keep my body active, and try to make progress in whatever way I can. And I think ultimately I will make the best progress with that attitude. When we set goals, we tend to take shortcuts. And we can also tend to disrespect other people when our goals are thwarted or restricted by others. And so when we have impatience and we want to just achieve some particular type of goal, sometimes the means justifies the end. Oh, there's a little vole across the path. I don't see little voles like that often up here. Yeah. Hey, where are you going, little guy? Yeah. Yeah, I've been working on my double jumps, and I've gotten them very, very much better by not setting goals. Like, I haven't been competing very much recently. I did do the competition in Calgary in the fall, what was it, October, but I decided not to compete in Oberstdorf in July this year. The competition was a little bit later because they had to do some work on the building. They closed the building down for several months in the spring, and so by not competing and by not setting, you know, certain time frame that where you have to turn in your good performance, you can, like, sort of let's say tear your technique down a little bit. Start from fundamentals, go back to fundamentals. I was over rotating my 3-turn and my preparation into my flip jump, and it was just a habit, and I just decided I am going to get rid of that habit, and I got lots of time to do that. There's no time frame for it. It's been a long process. Like, it's not something that I can just tell myself to do, because we rely on feelings sometimes to achieve our difficult tricks, and so we just go by feeling, not so much by thinking kind of interrupts the flow of our actions, and ultimately we're going to perform the best when we're not thinking too much, when we're just going according to our muscle memory. But yeah, in order to build up the technique, we want to use our brains. And so I've been using my brain quite a lot recently in practice, and I've been recognizing flaws in all of my jumps, all of my double jumps. And some of you might think, well, Gary, you're very consistent in competition, you can always land your jumps. Yeah, but I want to make them better. And so then I have made them better. All of my jumps, axel, salchow, toe loop. Toe loop, I've been working on getting into a better position on the takeoff with a deep enough back outside edge. And so I think anybody that sees my technique nowadays is going to recognize that I have made improvements. And I've made improvements on my axle also, not over rotating that takeoff. I've said that over rotated takeoffs lead to under rotated landings or challenged landings, and I have been thinking about this a lot because somebody asked in the comments about, can you explain why over rotated takeoffs lead to under rotated landings? And that's a subject that is not just, there's no quick easy answer to that. I mean, I know that that's the way things are, but to just give somebody a quick answer to that, it's not so easy. So I've been thinking about how I'm going to address that in a really understandable way for my viewers. But I've been applying this to all of my jumps. All of my jumps are kind of been over rotated on the takeoffs, and so landing is not as good as it can be. And so now I'm getting a better feel of positions and techniques that I need to use to prepare for jumps so that takeoffs are not over rotated. I'm moving in that direction. It's been something that I've had to remind myself of over and over and over again through my many decade career. It's a constant struggle to not over rotate, to overcome the tendency to jump too soon or turn too soon on the takeoffs of jumps. And I honestly believe, actually, that if I continue with this, I should be able to get, not only my double axel and triple salchow back again, but I think I should be able to get triple toe loop working again. And I haven't even ruled out the possibility of doing triple flips again. I don't think I'll do triple loops ever again, or triple lutzes probably. You never know, but let's be realistic. My loop jump is not my best jump, and Lutz I'm not really too proud of either. I mean, I would like to have a better preparation for that jump. I learned it on kind of a straight line with a pause, just what I rail against in skaters, pauses and straight lines going into jump. That's kind of the way I learned my Lutz, and I'm trying to get over that. I'm trying to reduce the waiting time and trying to keep continuous motion into it on a nice curving back outside edge. And it does make the jump a little bit more of a challenge. But yeah, no, even after all this time skating, I feel that I can make improvements on all my jumps, and it kind of keeps me motivated to keep going to the rink every day. Not to just maintain what I can already do, but to make improvements. And I really wish that when I was younger, when I learned how to skate, that I had built a better foundation. And yeah, I skated figures when I was young, so I did build a pretty good foundation. But in many cases I took shortcuts. I ran before I could walk. I was over ambitious. I just wanted to land certain jumps before I had the best foundation. I got into bad habits, and it's been ever since a struggle to overcome bad habits. And the longer a bad habit is practiced, the more difficult it obviously becomes to overcome it. And so, yeah, but I'm persistent, and I am making progress. And so actually this is one of the reasons why my double axel has eluded me. It's not only because it's a big jump, so it's a little scary, and it's not only because I've had pains and injuries to overcome, but it's also because I've changed my technique on my single axle. And so because I've changed the technique, I don't want to just go back to the double axle that I used to do. It's going to be a new jump. And so I don't really have the feeling. It's kind of like going into uncharted waters. It's kind of scary, but yeah, I'm going to get there. I will seize the opportunity when it arises to get that, to add that extra rotation. And I'm pretty sure my single axle now is good enough to do a triple, but I'm not going to pretend that that's going to happen in my future. I don't know, maybe it's a possibility, but I'd have to get a double back consistent first and get really comfortable with it, and then maybe work with a harness both off ice and on ice to get used to that really high speed rotation. And it wouldn't be impossible, but I don't know if I'm going to go to that extent. Yeah, listen to me. Yeah, well, this has been quite a scenic walk, huh? Lots of people out enjoying this trail today. You can hear the birds sing. If I just shut up for a little while, listen to those birds. Yeah, my mom was a bird watcher. She knew, she could identify birds according to their songs, and she could identify all the birds. She always carried binoculars with her. When she heard a bird chirping, she could almost always find it. And yeah, so I developed an appreciation and a knowledge for various different species of birds. So I can identify a lot of birds myself. But she could identify the difference between one warbler and another, and there's like so many different types of warblers. Speaking of singing, chirping birds, to sing is to warble. Those warblers are warbling. Yeah, in bird language. Yeah, so I'm coming almost to the end of Valrafvik, and I will take another pause right here and let Ryoko catch up, and then we will make the ascent up to Gaisalpsee very soon. Bye for now. Okay, we're back up and running. I just did a little brief interruption in the video. Yeah, I walked a little bit of a distance. This is kind of there's a little bit of a place where you can have a drink and a snack up there. But we're going to move along up the trail now. Yeah. Yeah, now the trail goes quite a bit steeper up, generally speaking. And it narrows down too. So this will be very, very good exercise. And I will get up to a very, very beautiful tarn. That is a mountain lake. Not an everyday word, tarn. A mountain lake. Probably you can't see that waterfall through the trees up there. Just to the right of that structure, you can just barely make out a waterfall between the trees, and the waterfall comes off that lake. So the lake is just above that waterfall, so that's where I'm planning on going to now as I make my way up this trail.
Ich hab noch so eins in grün.
Yeah, it's cool. Cool up here. As you go higher altitude, of course, it gets cooler, and the wind has picked up a little bit. So I was stopped waiting for Ryoko for a little bit of time there, and it was like brr. So not only not exercising for a while, but also higher altitude and a little bit of a wind. So for those of you who are watching from Tokyo, where it's 35 degrees right now, you're probably thinking, oh, that sounds great. Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to going back to Tokyo, where it's, because I like the heat. Yeah, spent so much time in ice rinks, and I don't have a lot of fat, so yeah, I don't do quite as well in cold temperatures. Ah, the sunshine. Yeah, there's that place over there that also here where people can stop and get themselves a little refreshment. You can even drive up here a different route. There's a road that comes all the way up here. Yeah, I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit. I just told Ryoko I'd meet her at the top, so I'm going to walk a little faster now and move right along. Take this little shortcut here. You can see the grass is all very green. It rains. You rarely go through 3 or 4 days without a rain of some kind up here in these Alps. Yeah, it's going to be quite a bit nicer view when I get up there as well, up a little bit higher. So there's Ruby Horn off sort of on the other side, and to the right of that mountain would be Oberstdorf. I've gone to the top of this mountain before several times. You can go up to the top of Rubyhorn from Oberstdorf and then come down this valley to the Gaisalpsee where I'm going now. And it's quite a nice round trip. But right now I'm going up to this Gaisalpsee, and I don't know if I'm going to go up to Rubyhorn today, the top of Rubyhorn. I'll probably just come down again this same way. We'll see. I could do it, but I don't want to be... Yeah, I don't want to drain myself too much, because I want to be able to skate tomorrow. So let me see now. This is wet and muddy, so I have to kind of choose the path that I'm going to follow up here. Yeah, there we go. While I'm hiking, I often remind myself about strength in the core, good posture, good shoulder position, and good use of the feet, because as we get older we tend to succumb to gravity, and shoulders and head move forward, and our posture worsens over time, and I want to resist that temptation, that tendency, as much as possible. So I remind myself to engage the stomach muscles, the abs, so that I can relax the shoulders, let the arms swing naturally, let the breathing become full and deep. Not as easy to talk when I'm climbing like this, wanting the breathing to become deep and full and sustaining. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I might just leave you here, turn this off, and pick up the pace considerably, and I'll catch up with you a little higher up. Okay, bye for now. Okay, I'm back. What about this view up here? Look at this gnarly trail that I just came up. Yeah, I don't know how much I have to say, but I can show you this trail. It's really quite a nice one. Yeah, it's been raining quite a lot a couple of days ago, not so much yesterday, but this trail is a little bit of a creek, so I have to be careful of my footing because wet rocks can be slippery. I try to step on the top of a rock, that way I'm not as likely to slip as I go up this trail. This is more like it, right? This is some little bit better exercise for mind and body, going up a trail like this. Yeah. Not only more strenuous because it's more uphill, Although you can set your pace, you can go whatever pace you want. And so, yeah, these logs are also very slippery, so making sure that I step on the top and not on the side. Sometimes having to take a big step up, really having to watch the footing as we come up this trail. Very popular route today. It is a Sunday, so lots of people out enjoying this trail. I had somebody at the bottom there just before I embarked upon this trail ask me, "Oh, you speak English?" Yeah, I speak English. "You know if there's any potable water around here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, can you get any better water than that?" Definitely not going to be better out of a plastic bottle, because plastic bottles contain plastic in the water. Okay, I got to keep my wits about me, because all of these rocks are slippery if I don't tread properly. Servos. Yeah, I made it across that without falling down. Yeah. Dankeschön. Yep, up we go. Yeah, this is a one-way street part of the way, but yeah, very wet. Yeah, take advantage of these kind of opportunities when you can. If you're not used to this type of trail, yeah, you got to be super careful. I've hiked all my life. I talked about how controlling my mother was earlier, but one thing I can say about my parents is they took us hiking a lot on these types of trails when we were younger. As a family, we used to go up to Banff National Park almost every weekend in the winter to ski, and the summer to go hiking. And that was one of the things that helped me build a strong body and a healthy body. Urban lifestyle is not so healthy. Going to the gym is not nearly as good as walking up this type of trail. So I'm happy to be here and happy to be able to take advantage of this. Yeah, you got to be careful, don't you? Exhibit A. Yeah, not only wet rocks and wet wood is slippery, but also gravel. Slippery. So, yep. Yeah, you can get distracted by the beauty of this trail and not pay as much attention to your footing. It's not a lesson I want to learn the hard way. Yeah, I've sprained my ankles walking on these kind of trails before. Not recently though. I hope I never have to learn that lesson again. What about it? Yeah, they've got a nice guardrail there. Yeah, you don't want to fall over the side of that cliff. Ah! Okay, onward ho. Yeah, my ankles and feet, my legs, getting quite the workout today. More potable water. Put a foot here, put a foot here, put a foot here, put some water. Yeah, no risk of dehydration on this trail. Lots of fresh, delicious, unchlorinated, unfluoridated, pure water with lots of minerals. Nothing bad about it. Yeah, I see some people in these mountain towns traipsing out of the grocery store with bottled water in plastic. And I'm like, why? Well, of course, I don't know how much the water is treated here in Germany. In Oberstdorf, I frankly don't know what the municipality does to the water. I don't taste any chlorine in it. And a lot of European cities, I've heard, use more ozonation than chlorine in their water. So I think in general, Europe is a healthier society than the United States or Canada. Not only in terms of the water, but in terms of their restriction of various chemicals and additives in food. I still buy all organic, and there's no guarantee that organic is completely pure and clean, but I figure it's got to be better than the conventional agricultural produce. And it's not like something has to be certified organic by some agency to be clean and pure, but unless you know your farmer, your local producer, you really don't know for sure. So I'd like ideally to grow all my own food and have a farm and produce all my own food, have control over it. Then I'd be able to eat it fresher as well, but I'm definitely not there yet. And so I've been shopping mostly organic for the best part of 40 years. Groceries almost exclusively organic. Oh, there's a nice schmetterling, butterfly. Lots of different species of butterflies up here. Yeah, I'm not too far now from the lake. Maybe another 15 minutes or so to get up there. Most enjoyable. Much nicer than being on a treadmill or doing stair climbs. So much nicer. Yeah, but if you're in the city, maybe going to the gym is better than not going to the gym. I don't go to the gym ever, hardly ever. I was doing CrossFit there for a while to strengthen up my wounded knee. It seemed to help. But yeah, of course we can also use the opportunity to use stairs instead of elevator or escalator whenever possible. Still not as good as hiking up a trail like this. Best form of exercise it can be. And if I could do it barefoot, some people claim that walking barefoot gives you a connection to the earth, you know, in a special way, so that you become like grounded somehow, and it's very good for your health. I don't doubt it. I haven't seen the science on this. My feet aren't ready for this. That would be something you'd have to work up to gradually, you know, build up the calluses in your feet. Maybe a next step might be wearing barefoot shoes which don't have all the cushioning and layers between you and the ground. Taking the opportunity on this one-way street here to pause and breathing deeply and fully to sustain myself. Servus. Well, y'all getting excited to see what that beautiful lake is going to look like at the top of this hike? It's gorgeous. Outstanding. One of the motivators for this hike. This is another thing that is good about walking on a trail like this. The scenery motivates you. The challenge of walking on uneven surfaces is a motivating factor. You forget about the fatigue. I don't feel tired at all walking up this hike right now. Yeah, you can see how popular this is, and the Germans do take a lot of holidays. Good for them. Yeah, they get out in these environments and hike and that. So. You can see that the people out here hiking, generally speaking, are in pretty good shape. You don't see a lot of obesity on this trail, right? Yeah. Yeah, if you want to stay slim and trim, get yourself some exercise, watch what you eat natural foods, and train in these natural environments. Natural sunlight. No fluorescent lighting up here. Better for your eyes, better for your skin, better for your immune system, better for your health. Natural sunlight. So if I just let my breathing be as deep and full as it wants to be, and I concentrate only on my breathing, that's how deep it becomes. Of course, when I'm talking, I can't breathe fully, so I could keep a faster pace if I wasn't talking. But I do want to share this experience with my viewers. I want to inspire and motivate you to partake in these experiences when you can, and not just live vicariously through the Gary Moves channel. Ruby Horn. Paraglider off in the distance, very popular around here. Parasailing, paragliding, whatever you call it. Take the tram up to the top of the Nablehorn. That's the Nablehorn straight ahead now, actually. Just to the left of Ruby Horn is Nablehorn. Nabel means fog. Yeah, it's foggy here a lot, but right now it's not. And that's pretty well it. I've arrived at the lake. What about that waterfall? Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to take a tumble down there, do I? Yeah, there's the waterfall and there's the lake. Was it worth it for you, those of you who stuck with me, to see this beautiful lake? Yeah, I'm going to get closer. Come along. Yeah, you never want to be too cavalier on these trails. Yeah, I've had a lot of experience hiking on trails. Like I say, my parents, took us hiking as youngsters, you know, when we were like 5, 6, 7, up into our teens. We went a lot up to the mountains and went on these hikes, and thank you, Mom and Dad, for that. Those wonderful, wonderful family experiences when we were young. Perhaps we didn't appreciate them as much at the time as we do now, looking back. And you might have noticed also that my monologue is more animated now. I'm in a better mood in this terrain now than I was when I was walking along that relatively tame trail farther down. This is most exhilarating, being up here in the high country. I never brought my skates up here in the winter time, but I probably could have. Now that water is cold, so people do swim in the water, as you can see down there. Not for me. Yeah, people are swimming in that water. And the air temperature is not that hot either, so yeah, I suppose that would be good for you to take a plunge in that cold water, take a little swim. Yeah, very, very popular destination here in the summertime. Not so accessible in the winter. Gotta be a little harder core to get up here in the winter time. So, yeah, I think that's about it for now. I don't know what else I need to show you or blather on about, so auf Wiedersehen.